Folks, mark it on the calendars. Mark it on the calendars. This is a special occasion here at WrestlePurious. We aren't on time. Chuck and I don't settle for on time. We said, let's give the people an early start time. Let's treat them. Let's give them. Look at Monty in the chat early. So what happened was, I thought Rampage started in 90 minutes. Chuck thought it started in 2 hours.
Yeah.
It actually starts in about 70 minutes. So we were both ready, and I said, let's go out there and rock. Let's go out there and play a few early tunes for them. Let's just do it. So here we are, Double or Nothing preview. This is my third Double or Nothing preview. I've approached each one differently tonight. I'm going to be very positive. I'm working babyface this evening. Chuck, this is your second today.
Mm-hmm.
How are you this evening?
I am doing great. My life is full of chaos right now because there is so much going on. And I decided that I needed to do like 5 wrestling shows and a wedding and a festival all in like a 10-day period. So that's my life for the next 10 days.
Well, these are the choices I would exactly expect you to make, honestly. That sounds incredibly
No one's surprised when I tell them. They're just like, wow, yeah, that sounds like you.
Yeah. So, folks, for anyone who's tuned into this and said, wait, Rampage? Yes, Rampage is an AEW TV show. And I said to our fearless leader, Montgomery, that I think we shouldn't clash with Rampage. And he thought I was a complete and utter buffoon for this. But this show has Pac versus Rocky Romero on it.
Sure does.
I mean, I feel like we shouldn't clash with that. So we're going to try and get out of here in time. We hope everyone is well. If you are fired up for Double or Nothing, or if not, just give us a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Send a super chat if you are feeling generous. Speaking of such, Chuck, it appears we have an early super chat. Let's go for it.
We do indeed. And Jean-Pierre, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. My goodness, is WrestlePurious take on the British invasion.
Yep. Something like that, yeah. Something like that. The two grappler booth here. We've done this on Holbert House show. We've never done a 2-person show on Purist, right? You and I don't think.
No, the only person I've done a 2-person show with was Monty, and we ended up doing almost 3 hours for a Dynamite review.
A two-man booth, Dynamite, 3 hours is insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was allowed to yap, and yap I did, so.
Well, we should know, actually, before we go any further, there was no Dynamite review this week, which was quite extraordinary. Myself, Chuck, and AO were all out of action for differing reasons. So there was no show. It will resume as usual next week. Chuck will not be there. But next week, it'll probably be myself, AO, and Marcus. It may not be. I don't know yet, but I will be there. Chuck will not, but the show will be back regardless. So we apologize for anyone who looks forward to that on their Thursdays. We hope this next hour or so makes up for it. I think Chi-Town Spurs has sent us some love, Charlie. Let's go for that before we get into it.
Sent us a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. I would like to send my condolences to Isaiah Cassidy's family ahead of his demise in about an hour. Who's he facing?
He's facing Roosh. And
Roosh,
yeah, Roosh tweeted about the match like, I'm going to punish him unlike any man. He tweeted something like unhinged. It read. I don't know.
What did Zayn do to him?
It was a crazy tweet. It was it read comedically, even though it was played completely straight. So, good times. That's Rampage, and we'll be hopefully done in time for everyone to go and watch that and enjoy their Friday afternoon wrestling. All right. Let's get into the Double or Nothing. All right, first, before I ask about the matches themselves, Chuck, where are you at excitement level-wise? Are you fired up? Are you medium? Where are you at on Double or Nothing?
I am excited. I'd probably be more excited if I wasn't living in a whirlwind right now, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really good show. I have no idea if I'll be able to watch it live yet or not, but I'm sure when I do catch it, I will have a fantastic time. There's a lot of good matches on that card.
There really is. This is kind of the ultimate AEW one in that, like, I don't really have a great deal of investment going in, but so many of these matches look good that I know I'm going to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, obviously, you'd have both parts of the equation there, but it is what it is. This card looks great regardless. I think that much it goes without saying. Speaking of such, let's dive right into some big business here. The match that I think may just steal the show on Sunday. International title. The famed machine built for Graps, Roderick Strong, defending the most prestigious prize in all of sports, opposite Will Osprey. They've worked in some old school Brit Rest lore into this one, Chuck, which is good fun. They've actually done a really good job, I think, heating this up and making it feel like a big match. What have you made of the Osprey strong build? What are your thoughts on the matchup? And then finally, of course, I think we know the answer on this one, but who's your prediction for the winner? Go for it.
Mm-hmm. I was excited for the match the minute that it was made official when Osprey won that gauntlet, back 4 weeks ago or whenever it was, because it's Osprey versus Roddy. It's going to be crazy. But shockingly enough, the build has made me more excited, which I didn't expect from this build because of, God bless, I love both guys involved and Osprey's really proved himself, but Roddy's not been the most enticing character in AEW so far, so I'm actually quite shocked about how invested they've gotten me into this. As for who's winning, it's got to be Osprey, right? I think it would be a massive shock if he didn't win, which isn't always a bad thing, but I think it's pretty clear that he's taken the belt. He's built for a belt like this. He really is.
And they haven't even really played up the Don Callis factor. At first, we wondered if that would be a factor because the first TV where he got this shot, they had that drama with Kyle. Remember where Kyle O'Reilly was? Sorry, Kyle Fletcher, I should say. They haven't played that up since. And instead, the Don Callis drama has actually gone over to a different match on this card, which we'll get to in a moment. So it just feels like Osprey's a lock. I still think he should be gunning for the big belt, but it is what it is at this point. This is the path they've taken. This match should be spectacular, right? I mean, this should be an incredible match. Would you say this is the favorite to be match of the night? What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's got to be. Like, I don't know. I feel like anytime Osprey's booked on a pay-per-view, people would just go like, well, there's your match of the night sort of thing. And you put him in there with someone like Roddy, who's really not gotten that much of a chance to like really show out on pay-per-views. He's going to take as much as Osprey will give him. And Osprey is very giving in the ring, for better or worse. So
yes, I agree. He gives every opponent a lot of space. And Roddy's one of the guys that will actually be greatly beneficial to the match because, this is the pace of this thing is going to be electric. If this was indeed the opener, which I don't think is out of the question. Could you imagine the standard it would set in terms of the physical quality of this thing? You mentioned the build. It was all that, to me, it all came together with that big face-to-face segment they did where Roddy finally was not like a cartoon character and was just an actual shit-talking pro wrestling champion. I thought it added a lot. Osprey's been great regardless. So it's come together, and I think it's one of the main matches that's actually been assisted by the build, which, as we go through these matches, is not necessarily the case for all of them. So that's a compliment to creative. No doubt, though, on the finish, Osprey, new international champ. Are we thinking it will be an Orange Cassidy style reign where he's defending it weekly, that kind of vibe?
I think it's going to be a mix of the OC and Pac reign where he's going to be defending it all the time in AEW, and he can't resist the indies. He wants any excuse to get back to him. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if he ends up defending it in Rev Pro in the next 3 months. Like, nothing would surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. Definitely could see him doing the touring champion thing with this. I think that's totally in play. It's mentioned in the chat, there was the angle on Wednesday where Osprey got busted open, which I think was a really nice kind of extra push. They're in a great spot with this thing. I'm very bullish on this match. I think it could be an absolute classic, honestly. So there you go. Osprey, Roderick Strong, certainly one to circle. Folks, anyone who's joining us for our scheduled start time, feel free to rewind. We give everyone a treat today on this wonderful Friday here. We gave them an early start for the first time in WrestlePurist history. We gave him an early start. But if you are joining us now, or if you've been here the whole time, again, thumbs up, subscribe, all those good things, and send a super chat if you're feeling generous. All right, let's move ahead here. Let's jump to the match that Don Callis business has sort of transferred to. And I think Don Callis is very likely to play a part in. We have Trent, Beretta, and Orange Cassidy in what I think is fair to say is one of the lesser matches in terms of anticipation. There doesn't seem to be a lot of excitement for this. They had a recent match on Dynamite that was pretty good, but I don't think it broke through that. There's no stipulation here. This is a slightly strange one to me, Chuck. What do you make of this Orange Cassidy Trent Beretta match here on pay-per-view?
I know why Tony's put it on the pay-per-view. I get it. Like, it's a good time to do the culmination of this part of the story, whatever. I think that this feud would have really benefited from a stip on this second match but they're not going to put a stip on this match with the other matches on this pay-per-view card, which it's understandable. They should have just main evented Dynamite in LA next week. Like, you could have pushed this a week and it would have been absolutely fine. No one would have minded. And it would have been another reason to sell tickets for that show. Like, main eventing with a fucking no holds barred or whatever. Like, people go crazy with that with like someone like OC. Like, because of the match he had with Moxley at All Out, we know he's capable of that sort of thing. So, I don't know. I'm not excited, but it's not like one that I'm going to skip or anything. Like, I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it, but it's going to be a cool-down match. It's unfortunate, but that's like the level the rest of the card is on.
Yeah, it's one of those matches that I think placement will decide, right? Like, if they open with this, to be totally transparent, I hope they don't, because I'd like them to open with something I'm more interested in. But if they open with it, which they're prone to open with Orange in any TV show or pay-per-view for that matter, they may be okay. If this goes on in the second half of the show, I think this is going to really struggle, to be honest. So yeah, I think we'll see. I'd imagine the match itself will be secondary to the finish. It feels like Don Callis is going to help Trent, to me, right? I mean, I don't know why anyone would buy the Don Callis Orange Cassidy connection.
Absolutely.
So if Trent has to win, right? He kind of has to.
Yeah, if Trent doesn't win, then why did you even bother running the feud? Why did you turn him heel? He immediately doesn't feel like a player, so he has to win here.
Yeah, I think he wins here with Don Callis, and then we probably get the blow-off match is probably the stip match, right? And they'll do a bloodbath on TV, I'm sure. And we'll see kind of how that eventually works out for Trent being part of the Don Callis family. It's probably about the right spot for him, to be honest, an underneath kind of faction. This match, not hugely high hopes, but I think the floor is still high because these guys are damn good. They're going to work really hard. I think they'll have a good wrestling match that no one's probably going to be talking about on Monday morning. All right, Chuck, I believe we have a super chat lined up, so feel free to take it away.
And Jean-Pierre, another $2 super chat. Thank you. English Joe and Samoa Joe in action on the same day.
Someone in the chat
Many are
saying if I was going to run back my late night grim performance from last Friday, in which I caused chaos, and I've approached each preview differently. So last week on the late night grin, I worked as a sort of crazed tweener. I was no one knew where I was going or what I was doing. I was out of control. Earlier today on True Heel Heat, I worked total heel, like everything. I was like, I may as well have had like a pencil on my, I was really nitpicky. As you can tell tonight, folks, look at the energy, look at the fire. Working babyface for the people here on Wrestle Curious. That's what I do. So that's versatility. But we appreciate the super chat. Smojo is indeed in action. I'm sure it will be a competitive, hard-fought battle in that one.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he'll definitely fall down a bunch of times on Rampage. But again, that's coming up. So we will proceed. So you're at Trent as well, right, Chuck? We're both at Trent?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. The unified AEW World Trios titles. We have the Bang Bang Gang. That is now officially their moniker, the Bang Bang. No more confusion, Chuck. The guns are still up, but this is now the Bang Bang Gang. And they're defending against Death Triangle, Reunited, Pac, Penta, and Phoenix. We got a really cool visual on Wednesday, right? We got the return and everything, and the co-entrance they have. This one, I mean, the build has been very much like they've pieced it together because they want to do the match. Yeah. But this should really add a lot to the paper card, right? I mean, this is a nice kind of a nice match for had some variety on a show that has a lot of singles matches. What do you reckon? Trios titles fired up?
I'm excited more so because of the talent involved than like the match and the build to it. Like, there's not really been a whole lot of build, has there? They just kind of started taking a piss out of Pac, like and kicking shit out of him. But I think this is going to be great. I think the JY is going to have some real cool moments in this. And I'm just excited that Death Triangle's back together. I hope it lasts longer than 2 weeks. I would like for them to win the belts here, really. I'd like them to have another run with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's happening here,
does it? It doesn't at all, but...
Yeah, but I also see, I mean, I know you're saying just like as a fan you'd like to see it, but even beyond that, like, they did just get reunited. It does feel like it'd be pretty cool for them to actually get so. I think Juice Robinson's in play here, to be honest with you.
I hadn't even thought about Juice being.
It's been a while, right? Like it has to be. We have to be just about due for Juice's big comeback here. I think he may be the finish of this one, Chuck. What do you reckon?
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, if Juice Robinson's back, then the Bang Bang Gang are probably likely, definitely retaining. Which, man, I guess if you want an excuse to add another match to Forbidden Door, keeping the trios on people that can actually work with the New Japan talent is probably a good bet. We're not sure what the Lucha Bros are up to these days in terms of can they actually work New Japan. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see Juice Robinson back, though, because I really do miss him, and he adds a lot to the act.
He certainly does. I think his value is more apparent now that he's been gone. Even than it was when he was around, and it was apparent then, so don't be wrong. But yeah, he's been missed. This should be a really good match, right? A really good match. And as I said, if you look at this card, it does feel like it has a clear role to play. The only other multi-man match is, the FTW title match, which we'll get to it. Anarchy in the Arena, which is the main event. So this will be a nice kind of undercard, up the pace, give them some tremendous moves, some action. It should be exciting. We shall see. All right, Chuck, I believe we have yet another super chat from our wonderful Wrestle Purist Galaxy here.
Shytown Spurs, another $5. Thank you. Fun trios matches on AEW pay-per-views again. The Acclaimed curse is finally over. Listen, man. I can't disagree.
When was the last time they actually did get defended, these belts, on the actual main card? It's been a while, right? Am I imagining, or it feels like it's been a while?
They weren't. Were they at Revolution? I don't know. I was there. I should know this. They weren't.
No. Didn't they do a 10-person tag on? Apparently, the chat said Wembley.
Was it actually? Oh my god! When they did the Billy Gunn fake retirement storyline, incredible stuff. All in. That's when they won the belts.
Wow.
Wow, the Acclaimed were cursed. They genuinely.
That was and after that, you had a lot of papes too. You had All Out, Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, World's End. You had 4 papes to end
Revolution.
The year. Yeah, and you had 2 more.
Dynasty. Wow, that's quite brutal, actually.
Yeah, these belts are not. These belts are not the most prestigious prize in all sports. I'm going to go on a limb.
Were they even defended on no, because of Ring of Honor, the Bang Bang Gang had those belts. Never mind. Anyways,
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, that is wild. All right, folks, as we move forward here again, you know the deal. You know the thumbs up. You know the subscribe. You know the super chat. You're feeling generous. You know the story by now. Speaking of stories, it's about time we go sit under the learning tree, Chuck.
Do I have to?
FTW title, FTW rules, triple threat match here. Chris Jericho, Hook, Katsuyori Shibata. On Wednesday, there was a triple threat match to decide the new contender. It was a double finish, which broke Shivani's brain for a moment. Couldn't believe what happened. Which did pop me. Wasn't much else that popped me about that, to be honest with you. I'm out again on this learning tree, Chuck. You were right about this all along. You never once even bothered to.
No.
Charlie, you never even threatened it. You never even was like, I'll have a look. You said, nope, I'm not interested. I assume it's the same for this match, right?
They have Katsuyori Shibata on their roster, and he's capable of wrestling at 80% of what he could wrestle at before, which is fucking incredible in itself, considering what he went through. And he's wrestling Hook and Chris Jericho, which is likely going to be a cooldown match. Yeah. And he's probably going to get pinned.
Probably, yeah.
Tony Khan, what the fuck is your problem?
So, why do we think, and I know this is obviously I would be the guy who immediately inserts Samoa Joe in the conversation, but I'm sorry, it's the only thing I want to talk about. Why do we think he was inserted in that segment a couple of weeks? Because that was very strange.
I wish I had an answer.
It's weird.
Unless he's facing one of these 3 guys at a big pay-per-view coming up, which I'm terrified about who it's going to be, and it's probably going to be at All In, so I can't fucking wait for that. But I don't understand what the goal is with any of this.
Yeah, because, okay, so the FTW belt presumably eventually will go back to Hook again, right? That's the only thing you can kind of assume.
Yeah, I mean, it should go in a bin, but
it really should.
Taz.
No, but you're right. I mean, they've got 4 genuinely important singles titles. There's no reason for this belt to be. This is just it's unnecessary. And it's a crutch, I think, for Hook at this point. Yes. Do we think the match will be any good?
I don't think it will be.
I don't either. I mean,
like if I'm able to watch this live, this is probably going to be the match where I'm running to the fucking corner store to get more alcohol or something. Like, I don't know.
I didn't think they had a very good match on Wednesday, and that was with Brian Keith, who in 2024.
And I like Brian Keith.
So do I, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm really quite upset.
Jericho's winning, right?
Yeah, of course he is. It's Jericho on a pay-per-view. Of course he's winning. Jericho's
going to win, probably pin Katsuyori Shibata, unfortunately. I'm sure there'll be shenanigans. I have no doubt. Hopefully the match is fun. I thought Jericho and Shibata had a pretty fun one. The Jericho Hook stuff has been awful for the most part. So we'll see, but it's not one that I think anyone is particularly looking forward to in this particular panel anyway. All right, there you go. Let's jump to another kind of controversial one. It's the word I'm using to describe it.
Are we talking Copeland?
We are, of course we are. You know, controversy. That's all Cope's all about. We're talking barbed wire. We're talking steel cage. We're talking AEW TNT title. And they've certainly not been short on ideas here. Right? I mean, they've really gone for it. Wedding rings have been stolen. Blood has spilled on the canvas of All Elite Wrestling. Other things have happened. 20-minute matches have been wrestled along the way. Body parts have been sold. It's been a roller coaster. This match has to have the biggest gap between floor and ceiling on this card. It has to. Mm-hmm. Stipulation will make or break this, as will, frankly, make it both at once. As will, frankly, just where Malakai. Every time I see Malakai, it looks like he has a different amount to offer, and you know, we'll see. He should be fired up for this. Chuck, how excited are you, or are you not, for the barbed wire steel cage match? What do you reckon?
I'm actually rather excited about the prospect of Grangel being involved in Cope's entrance, because it wouldn't shock me after the stunt that was pulled on Dynamite. The match itself, I don't know. Malakai might take a back bump. I don't think he'll take a pin, but I think he might take a back bump. He's not going to have a lot of options in a barbed wire steel cage.
I feel like he's going to get. I think he's going to get pinned.
You reckon?
I do, yeah. I think he's going to get pinned, and I think he probably
submit. I think he'll. I don't think.
Oh yeah, he might do. Yeah, he might do the pass out, dramatic sell, the crossface. What does Copeland call his crossface? He has a name for the crossface. Oh, it's like I forget, but he does the faces. You know, the big Copeland faces. Yeah. That may be the finish. There is some buzz here in the world of professional wrestling. Malakai Black may win I was going to say the big one, but I don't know if this counts as the big one. The Grindhouse. Thank you, Kat. Yes, it's so Cope when he does the faces and all the Cope things. I've seen some hope that Malakai is going to win here. I don't buy it for a second. Do you buy it? Malakai Black winning the TNT title?
What would he do with it? He doesn't wrestle.
Can I carry it around?
Guys, I am a solid believer that one day Malakai Black will get back to a place where he is a decent wrestler and actively participates in matches. Putting the TNT title on him right now would be disastrous, I think. Because it's the workhorse belt. He's not a workhorse.
Yeah, I don't buy it either. I've seen some buzz. A lot of people are very fired up, you know.
God bless them.
For a lot of folks, they've been really waiting for this big Malakai chance, right? And I think we haven't necessarily, but we'll find out on Sunday where he looks like. I mean, I thought him and Kyle had a good match on Wednesday. I don't know if you got to watch it yet, but it was a good match. Like he just physically is labored in some way, and I don't mean that as a knock. It's just he's pretty obvious. He's a little beat up, but he should bring out his best here. They're in Vegas. They got 7,000 people or whatever.
It's going to be plenty of smokes and mirrors.
Yeah. Gangrel.
Yes, hopefully. I think it'd be great.
I'm fascinated by your excitement for Gangrel. This has surprised me. You did not strike me as a Gangrel fan.
I'm a real edgehead, so it's more of the fact I love that entrance than him. Like, I popped huge when they brought him in before because it's just like like the visual is incredibly funny to me. So if he doesn't do the full Brood entrance, then what's the point of the blood? The very thick blood that was incredibly funny.
That was wild, wasn't it? That was something else.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
I haven't watched the full episode of Dynamite yet because I'm a terrible wrestling fan. But I've seen the clips of that hitting Tommy and Tommy. Well, I was reading chat. I said Tommy instead of Malakai. My bad. I have seen the clips. It was very. They were great.
Joe's going to start exposing the business and talk about wrestling like it's not real.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did just say I'm a terrible wrestling fan, so.
Yeah, it happens. It is what it is. But hopefully this rules. They're going to try and get a lot of drama out of the barbed wire business.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if they manage it. One of the big X factors for this weekend, folks, really like genuinely important, I think, is where this crowd is at. Last year's Double or Nothing crowd was dreadful.
Brutal.
And to be fair, they wasn't given a great show for the first half either, but it was a real problem. Matches like this are going to, I think, live or die. I keep pairing these things. Live or die on how excited Vegas is to see it. So we shall see, but we've both got Copeland getting the win and probably some Gangrel business to boot. Chuck, it appears we have a couple wonderful super chats. Take it away.
We sure do. Brainbuster 499, thank you. I made a video about FTR versus Bullet Club Gold 2 out of 3 falls recently. Brackets cheap plug. And it's made me miss the hell out of Juice. Hope you're right, Joe. I hope Joe's right too, because I miss Juice Robinson.
Yeah. That was a wild run. Him being part of that match is like a crazy piece of history, I think. Like, in 30 years, and people are like, wait, there was this hour-long tag match. Who was in it? Juice Robinson being in there pops me huge.
It's insane. Like, when he first signed to AEW, no one thought he was going to be a player. And by no one, I mean all the haters. I've always been a Juice Robinson fan.
I couldn't believe. Like, I liked Juice a lot when he was a babyface in New Japan years back. When he got signed by AEW, I was like, there's no way this dude's going to do anything in AEW. He proved me completely wrong. Completely wrong.
Lots of love to the guy. Hope he is back soon. Half £199 super chat. How has TV been in lead up? Brackets, I ain't watched much. I can't talk to this week. But other than that, it's been pretty AEW middle of the road, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been in a vacuum. I think each show is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well in a bigger picture they build your excitement for the show. Now, the main angle, the elite angle, has actually been an interesting project for them because it's actually been kind of traditional TV format and they don't do often, right?
Yeah.
And that stuff I think has been good. Outside of that, very up and down, I think. And again, it's one of those things when you actually watch the show, you enjoy the show, right? When you like the individual show, I don't always think you leave it being like, oh my God, how many days till Double or Nothing? So positive, but not a home run, I think is probably the best way I would put it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much agreed. Shaitan Spurs, $2 super chat, thank you. If this goes 30 minutes, God help us. I'm assuming you mean the Malakai Copeland match. God help us indeed. If you meant the podcast, sorry, we're coming up to it.
I like the idea of it being about the podcast.
Yeah.
just sitting there looking at the clock and horror. That's good stuff. All right, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Shaitan Spurs. All of the wonderful. We still don't have a name for our viewers around here. Have you noticed that, Chuck? I tried to figure this out months ago. And then at some point it was the Wrestle Puritans, which sounded awful.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, we need. It's terrible, but anyway, wherever you guys are called, we appreciate it.
Our loyal viewers.
Yeah, but if you want to keep sending them, we'll be very, very thankful. Two grappler booth tonight, folks. This is a hell of a split, so we appreciate the support. All right, let's jump ahead here. Where should we go next? Let's go IWGP World Heavyweight Eliminator match. If Takeshita wins, he gets a real shot at the big one. Jon Moxley, Konosuke Takeshita. This is actually interesting in that obviously on like an objective level, this is dumb, right? Like, why is it elimination? Like, obviously it's dumb, but practically, it makes the match kind of quirky because, like, he might win now, you know? Takeshita might win this match. Or he's not going to win at all, and it's just politically they didn't want to sanction this as an IWGP title match. The question really is going to decide your pick here, Chuck. What do you make of this eliminated business, Moxley and Takeshita? Where do you stand?
I think... I hope that it's an eliminator because they want to run the official match in Japan. That is my hope. And AEW kind of went, hold on, these are talents signed to us. We want to run the match. And this is the agreement they came to. I hope. I don't think that's the case. I'm going to be very optimistic that this is what we are getting and that Takeshita is winning here. I think the match is going to be fantastic either way.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure. I mean, definitely.
No, I'm not sure either. I'm just being optimistic.
You're being optimistic. I respect that. You're working babyface also. I get it. It's these two have had a few matches. I want to say this is their fourth match, maybe. I want to say. At least third.
Fight Fest 2022. Did they have a Rampage match?
They definitely had a Rampage match, yeah, because Apollo was
there. So at least two.
I think this is probably their third, probably. And I assume their first since Takeshita turned heel, right? I would assume, which is now a year ago. This is a year to Takeshita's big turn. I think. Yeah, in the midst of Anarchy in the Arena. So there's, this is a big match, and title or no title, that doesn't change. I think the match is their third. Match is going to be tremendous. I just think it's probably a political thing, and Moxley's probably just going to beat him, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, they've already announced that he's facing Evil at fucking whenever the next show. I don't know. I'm really tapped out of wrestling at the moment. But yeah, which is like unfortunate because I think that Takeshita versus Moxley in Japan could be fucking incredible. And like match of the year stuff, but what do I know about booking wrestling?
Yeah, it would be nice to see Takeshita get a big win here, wouldn't it? That would be cool. I mean,
yeah, that'd be cool.
His booking is fascinating because he is protected. Very few guys have beat him since he turned heel, but the problem is he's protected so much it feels like we never see him have big matches, and when we do, he does lose.
Yeah,
it was 9 months ago that he had those Omega wins. It's like, because it was September, right?
September was 9 months ago.
No, that's wrong. I haven't done the maths correctly. 8?
October, November, December,
Here
March.
We go.
April, May. God, yeah, it was like 8 months ago.
8 months, yeah. Wembley, I guess you'd say. So it's like he's a great example of the weirdness of their booking. What do you think the ideal like Takeshita route is? Because like the chat's reiterated, he's lost his ass, Osprey at Revolution and Swerve on that TV main event where they had some real time, and he was established as an equal to Swerve, as he should be. What do you think's the like natural? Say he loses on Sunday, what happens then to Takeshita? You're a good fantasy booker, Chuck. Take it away.
It's difficult because of the roles they've slotted other talent into, because he is such the perfect talent to hold the international belt, but they're not going to do that right now if Osprey wins. And it's like, he'd be a great contender to hold any of the belts, but he's not going to. Right? And then they're not going to put him against Okada right now, not in the midst of all the Elite versus Team AEW, and Copeland's on his way to Spookyland. So, do I want Takeshita involved there? Not really. And they don't. The issue is he was babyface in AEW for like a while, so he doesn't have any real enemies that they could sink him into a singles feud with. Because of who's he got beef with? That isn't like, I don't know, the people he's already wrestling, or like Kenny Omega, who's not here. So,
well, if Copeland can escape Spookyland, Takeshita would be a good guy to beat him for the belt, right?
He'd absolutely be a good guy to beat him.
I do wonder if they go back to the Osprey match. I think you could definitely see that happening, especially if Don Callis family will kick Osprey out at some point.
I think they'll get there eventually, but like in the immediate future.
Exactly. Yeah, that feels like a ways away. Yeah, I don't know. He's in an interesting spot. Again, protected, certainly trusted to have great matches. We expect he'll have another one here with Moxley, but it just doesn't quite feel like he's climbing the way he should be. And that's frustrating, I think, anyone who enjoys his matches. But nonetheless, I'll take Moxley here in the Eliminator match. I'm sure it'll be a killer match. I mean, again, this show looks great. All right,
I'm gonna stick with Takeshita. I'm gonna be optimistic.
You're being optimistic. There you go.
It will not pay off.
I respect it. All right, I think we have a couple of super chats here, Chuck.
Oh, we do. I don't want to read those.
Oh, Jesus.
Anay the Sultan, $2 super chat. Thank you. Block Willow chances have increased tenfold.
Anything can happen. Well,
is this in reference to Darby Allin wielding a flamethrower?
I think the idea kind of being that, like, you know, that opens the doors to we could go anywhere now, right? If there's fire involved, I mean,
God bless.
We'll get to that shortly, folks.
We will. Rishi Sunak, $5 super chat. You're using the wrong currency, mate. Greetings, my English friends. I hope you both enjoy Wonder or Nothing. Do either of you have a spare umbrella? Fuck me. Please, no. I don't.
No friends around here, Rishi. No friends, mate. Is there? No need for it, really, is there? We're trying our best here, folks.
I do not have time to get into British politics today.
No. Imagine we did, though. We just halted the show. All right, folks. Enough for W, I think. All right. Let's. I guess we'll talk about some more matches now. What did we? We just did Moxley and Takeshita. All right. AEW Women's World Title. Timeless Toni Storm defending against Serena Deeb. This week, Chuck. Again, I know you've been kind of in and out, so I'll clue you in on this if you missed it. They established Serena Deeb is the heel. They did that this week, so they actually have adjusted. And I think that will be very positive for the match because these two should have a hell of a match. My main concern was the crowd dynamic. If that's now not an issue, I'm pretty confident this will be good. There isn't much doubt as to the winner, I don't think. But Chuck, what do you reckon? Serena Deeb, Toni Storm, where's the excitement at for you? Go for it.
I'm more excited now that they've flipped the dynamics. The thing is, I know this match is going to be great. And I appreciate that Serena Deeb is like a great wrestler. Yeah. Her comeback hasn't really like pulled me in at all. Like it hasn't really, I don't know, it hasn't really got me excited for her prospects in AEW, which is not a knock on her. And I think it's fantastic that she was able to return from what she did. But I don't know, she just doesn't excite me that much as a wrestler. And Toni Storm, I'm hoping stays locked in for this match and they're going to have a hell of a match and I'll be impressed no matter what. But when I look at what's going on elsewhere in the women's division, I've struggled to like really get invested in this.
I don't think you're the only one. I think it'll probably show on Sunday. It's a really tough. Serena Deeb is tremendous. She really is. But she has struggled to connect as a personality, right? And I don't think we're talking out of turn to say that. It is what it is. It's just not something that's translated as of yet. Part of that, creative surely hasn't helped, right? She came back as a babyface, and I completely get why they wanted to tell her story. I would have done the exact same thing if I had the pencil. Unfortunately, that promo segment they did live backfired because people just didn't want to hear Serena Deeb cut a live promo, even though what they were trying to do was a good idea. The real X factor here is we both think the match is going to be good. Can it be good enough that Deeb can leave this with more standing among the audience? Because, look, those of us that are, you know, doing shows like this and watching shows like this, we all know how good she is. But if people struggle to get into Serena, right, and care, and like you're saying it on here, imagine what some of the viewers at home that are just watching the TV show feel. So that's the big X factor to me. Obviously, Tony's winning, right? I mean, I think that goes without saying. But it's just the division would be much better off if they could figure out a way to really get Serena over. They've struggled for the most part. So hopefully it comes together. She's a tremendous wrestler, folks. She really is one of the best wrestlers in the entire division. But they've got to make the people care. Let's see if they can make that happen on Sunday. We both think the match, obviously, will be a hell of a wrestling match. All right.
Yeah. Do we think there'll be any returns here? Because I feel like this, out of all the matches on the card, this feels like one that could maybe see a return happen. I don't know who. It could be Britt or Jamie. God bless, if she's still like wrestling for AEW. I know she's been out for a year.
That's crazy. Yeah. So do we think Tony's going to work Mina at Forbidden Door?
Feels like it. Yeah.
It feels like they might do it there because then they'll need an opponent. You know what I'm saying? Because they kind of have one already locked in, but it could be Britt. We haven't heard anything about Jamie. Britt feels way overdue, to be honest.
It's been gone. How long has Britt been gone since? Like that match with Chris Statlander?
Yeah.
Is it been since then?
Yeah, and that was a long time ago.
October?
Maybe earlier than that. I think it was earlier than that.
Maybe, yeah.
Jesus. It's just she's just kind of been gone. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Remember, it was the week after the Jade match because Chris had the Jade and the Britt matches right after him. Anyway, I could see Britt. I think they'll probably do it later, but it's a good call. I have a return prediction myself coming up here, but we'll get to that momentarily. Folks, it's time to get into our triple main event here at Double or Nothing. I know everyone loves that terminology, so I thought I'd work it in myself. We hope you've enjoyed this thus far. We're having a good time here running through Double or Nothing. If you have enjoyed it, you know the deal. The thumbs up, subscribe, super chat, all that good stuff that we do here on the YouTubes. All right. AEW World's title. Swerve Strickland, his first pay-per-view defense after dethroning Samoa Joe, and he meets another Joe Holbert Promotions legend. He meets the instant classic Christian Cage. And this one, there's a lot going on here because I actually think the build for this has been really good.
Yeah.
There is questions to be asked about its placement and how big it feels on the show. But from a performance point of view, I don't think Christian Swerve could have done any more to get this thing moving in the right direction. So much to talk about here. AEW World's title, Swerve and Christian. What have you made of this, Chuck?
I think that with the room they've been given, with the nature of the rest of the TV, they have absolutely made the most and probably exceeded expectations in a lot of ways with this feud. I really like how it ties into a lot of like what first started going wrong with Swerve per se, like when it going back to All In, and they've tied in the Nick Wayne stuff, and they've tied up loose ends with the Mogul Embassy. They've done a lot in the time blocks they've been given.
Mm-hmm.
It was always going to suffer a little bit under the AEW Team Elite stuff because we saw it last year with the BCC versus the Elite and how the world title suffered a little bit under that. Granted, they weren't doing anywhere near as good of a feud at the time. Like, no offense to any of the guys involved, but I think it's just the way it's presented. Like, there's been a little bit of miss with how it's been presented on TV, on like the balance of what closes the TV shows and what's made to feel like the big deals. But I think that they're going to have a fucking hell of a match. And Christian Cage, man, what a performer he has been in AEW. Not just for this, just in general.
Yeah. Oh, he's unbelievable. He really is. I mean, the biggest thing he's battling is just perception of always being a runner-up in WWE. And there's a natural, you feel it, like there's a natural, Christian, and I get it completely, but what he does as a performer, as a character, as a wrestler, all of the above, he's just spectacular. So Swerve Strickland is a superstar, clearly. I mean, the presence of the guy, his matches, as we've talked about before, sometimes I think he would get more out of less. And I know that's like an old head take, but what I mean is he's actually got over now. Like, people, they love Swerve. And I think he's still making that step of main event worker. I think Christian will help tremendously with that.
Yeah,
kind of highlighting the strengths of his game, you know, like some of the stuff Swerve does, he doesn't need to do anymore because he's taken that step. And I think we're going to see that more and more as he wrestles these matches. The real thing that appeals to me about Swerve as a wrestler is the aggression that he has, the edge that he has. I think Christian will really spotlight that neatly, and I think this will come out really, really well. Unfortunately, there's no doubt as to the finish, right? I mean, it's a formality. Of course, Swerve's winning. It's inevitable. So Swerve's going to go over here and keep the belt because, of course, hopefully the match is killer. Where do you think this gets placed on the card? Because that's kind of a big X factor, I think.
It's difficult. I guess it depends on what sort of match they're planning on working. Because I feel like if they're working the Christian Cage 25-minute classic, they could easily be the match before Anarchy in the arena and not suffer because of it.
Yep.
If they're wrestling a Swerve style match, they need to be in like the middle, I think. So I think it depends who gets the reins more in terms of stylistic wise for the match.
That'll be interesting. I think they're probably going to meet somewhere in the middle, right? In terms of like length and style. Because I do think there'll be some stunts in this and some kind of big bombastic elements. So yeah, this will be. I'm intrigued by placement on this. It's Chi-Town Spurs, who has been wonderful this evening, has got a super chat about this very subject. Well, not this very subject, one close to it. Go for it, Chuck.
$5. Thank you, Chi-Town Spurs. Feel like Swerve has nailed the babyface turn without losing his edge, which I was concerned about. There was a few weeks post-title win that it was a little bit dicey. We talked about it on the podcast, but the Christian feud has been perfect at pulling the edge straight back out of him.
I agree completely. His presentation over the last 2 weeks has been miles better than what he did the first few weeks after the show. I think what his part of it, I think he's been terrific. The big thing they have to do, and you're right to point out, like, this is a special case because that Elite feud, like they did a whole thing with Tony Khan, is what it is. And by the way, I think we both expect Swerve to get dragged into that, so he'll be okay. Yeah. But once that's done, the real key will be establishing kind of him as the top guy and that belt as the top belt. Because coming out of this pay-per-view, folks, the champions are going to be Copeland, Okada, Osprey, and Swerve. That's
what a lineup.
When it's your first time being a true top guy, that is really challenging, you know. So you got to help him out. But again, he's doing his part, and Christian will only help, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'm very excited to watch these two wrestle. I think hopefully, honestly, I'd like them to get a couple matches out of this. I know that's not really the AEW way, but it feels like they could because Christian's great at those multi-match series. So we'll see, folks. All right, let's jump now to the second of our triple main event. I think we're going to save the presumed main event for last, and we'll go to the TBS title match. Now, it's a big one, highly anticipated. Mercedes Moné's first match in an AEW ring. Well, we had a whole 2.5 months after her debut, right? It's been quite the ride. There's been some ups, there's been some downs, but we made it. And I think it's fair to say we ended that roller coaster on a high. I think it's got better as they've gone along. She's turned heel, leaned heel, I'll say for now. She, of course, challenges Willow Nightingale for TBS belt. And Willow Nightingale has been a revelation in this build. My goodness, she's been good. So what have you made of all of this, Chuck, and how fired up are you for the match?
This is probably the match that I'm most excited for that isn't Anarchy in the arena, because of course it is. It's Mercedes' first match in a year. And Willow, like, she needs to get more credit for what she has done in this build because of she has stepped up to the plate and gone toe-to-toe with Mercedes on multiple occasions and not been overshadowed. There's not a lot of women that could have been her, like, Mercedes' first feud in AEW and come out of it on a similar level to her. Like, she's not going to be on the same level. It's Mercedes Moné. Like, there's very few women in this world that are, but Willow is the future ace of that division. And as much as I think that Mercedes is going to be winning the belt on Sunday, what a statement it would be if Willow retained here. That would be crazy.
And I don't think it's out of the question. I think she's been that good. Yeah, I think it's in play. It's not what I'm picking. I think you're not either. But it's not out of the question, which speaks to how good a job Willow has done. Who, lest we forget, this is her first time really doing a program. Like, it's an in-ring contract signing and all these segments. She's just been terrific. She's really one of the main pieces that AEW should be built around for the years moving forward here. So this is a huge match for both parties. Like, look, I don't want to overstate it because she's been out of the ring for a year, and if she's a little rusty, I think that's to be expected. It is what it is. But it would sure be nice if this match rolled, wouldn't it, after the run-up for this, you know?
It sure would.
It would be nice.
I have a lot of faith in this. I feel like Mercedes has been training like a fucking mad woman, just based on like the small clips that she's posted in that. Like, God knows how much she's actually been in the ring. It feels like a lot.
And she has a great wrestling brain, which will serve her well. I think this will probably be awesome. Their last match was trending towards something great before the injury. So I'm very hopeful. The finish is fascinating here. So we have different factors at play, right? Stokely and Chris are factors here.
Yes.
Whoever it was that attacked Mercedes that time is in play. I think there's a couple heaters that could show up for Mercedes. I mean, I think there's different things here. The only finish I think that would be a wrong finish. I don't think Mercedes should win clean because to me, she's going to come out of this a heel. That should be the key here. What do you think the right finish is? Or I guess, what do you think the right finish is? Or what do you think the finish will be? I guess would be the question.
I think there's potential that Chris Statlander is going to turn earlier in the night, involved with the OC Trent match. And I think that she's going to come out during this match and maybe not get involved, but it might throw Willow off because she's already turned on some of her friends. What's she going to do here? I think that maybe there won't be like direct involvement necessarily, but I think that Chris Stat is going to play a part in Willow losing the belt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Chat brings up Megan Bain. Camille comes up. Definitely could see either of those being brought in as kind of Mercedes backup. I don't know. I'm fascinated by this. I really am. I'm not sure the best way to present this. I think Mercedes has leaned heel, but I think there's room to play with that because again, she's only leaning that way. If they would just have a clean wrestling match and the aforementioned mystery attacker, kind of loomed over it, maybe Mercedes isn't leaving this as a heel. This match is probably the most interesting on the card in terms of the finish, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, I don't think there's a bad finish here, really. Honestly, I don't think, unless it ends in like, God forbid, there's like another injury, which touch wood, there's not going to be. But other than that, I don't think there's like any bad way that this could end. Mercedes is absolutely going to fake an injury because that's the exact type of wrestler she is. Yeah. And maybe that will play into the finish.
I think that should probably be the finish, yeah. I think Mercedes, Willow, for all of the confidence she's shown, her kind of for a moment being hesitant because she thinks Mercedes is re-injured. Yes. I think that'd be a good finish. And then, because this is just the first of many matches, you assume they're going to you assume Willow's going to chase for a while. So, very excited. Hopefully this is something that will kind of define AEW's women's division in 2024. This is the first match.
I hope they get the time as well that they deserve.
Yeah. Hopefully the time, the placement, the crowd. I want this thing to come together, and it's not one of those, I don't want to do the like make or break stuff because the reality is if it isn't quite what we want it to be, that isn't the end of the world. It's the first match of probably many. But if I'm honest with myself, I really would appreciate if this match was fucking awesome. Because looking at this card, it's like, it is one of the matches with juice, right? It's one of the matches you kind of go, like, I need to see that. So there you go. All right. We both got Mercedes taking the TBS title. All right, folks.
Indeed.
Presumed main event time. I say this because it's closed like every Dynamite. I feel like it's kind of the main event, right? Anarchy in the Arena, The Elite, Okada, Jack Perry, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson versus Team AEW, Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, and the FTR. Anarchy in the Arena, this is the third one. Darby Allin is the big X factor here in terms of what in the world he's going to come up with. But this is quite the collection of professional wrestlers, Charlie. This is something else. So what have you made of the build, which has been the centerpiece of AEW TV? And what are you thinking for the match?
I think the build has been incredible. To be honest, I think this has been one of the best builds to like this type of matchup they've done in AEW to my memory. I'm really, really excited for this match, but I'm also like genuinely terrified for what the fuck Darby Allin's going to do. Because he turned up to Dynamite with a flamethrower. The last pay-per-view he was on, he threw himself through a glass pane off of a ladder. What I don't know what is next for this man and if he will survive it. He got hit by a bus a month ago. He could drive that bus into the arena and I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot about this match that I'm curious about and kind of scared of. that kind of sums up how I feel about Okada as well. Curious, kind of scared. I don't know how he's going to be in this match.
He's got to do a lot of walk and brawl here, right? I don't know what.
He's going to do a lot of walk and brawl.
Jack Perry is going to do some crazy shit in this match.
He's going to jump off of something. He's going to want to try and match Darby's intensity. And as the two young guys of this match, they kind of have to.
So I'd imagine they'll build to kind of a little set piece where the ring's cleared and Dragon and Okada go face to face, and because obviously that's a easy reaction. Cash Wheeler will probably be nuts in this match.
He's going to do a 450 off of something. I don't know, off the poker chips or some bullshit. Do they even do the poker chips anymore? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Dax will take a bump that he probably shouldn't, but will do for the love of the game. The Bucks will do the exact same thing that I just said Dax will do. So I think this will probably be great. I think it'll probably be better than last year because I think the Elite, or Matthew and Nicholas, I guess in particular, I think will be better as the heels in this kind of match.
I agree.
Because you'll see them be kind of how they were in the Sting match. So, I mean, this looks tremendous, but here's my return, Chuck. I think this is where the Cowboy comes back into play. I think we get some Cowboy shit to close, Double or Nothing. I think Hangman Adam Page helps the Elite win, not necessarily rejoining the group, but I think he helps them win here. And I think then Swerve accompanies Team AEW into Blood and Guts. What do you think of that, Chuck? I'm not the fantasy book around here. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, I think there's real potential for that. And I would not hate it. I would not hate it in the slightest. Because they do need more people in this feud. I don't think Team AEW is going to even necessarily be the same for people that we see in this match in Blood and Guts. I don't know if Dax's body will hold up for that. I think they're going to make some subs, which is good. They should. There's plenty of people involved in this feud that they can do that. Like, they should be, like, proving to the Elite, oh my God, there's like 20 of us that we can rely on. There's 5 of you, like, sort of thing. But yeah, I think Hangman coming back here would not be a shock in the slightest. It's about time, I think. It feels about right for a return. Because if he was off with like personal issues or whatever, not for him, for family stuff, I think. I don't know what got reported and what didn't, so I'm not going to say too much. But but it feels, so I'm just going to stop talking. But it feels about the right sort of timing. Yeah, he's definitely going to help the Elite, and it's definitely going to be in exchange for getting at Swerve again. And I think that's going to be the all-in main event. So
do I, yeah. I think it makes sense because I think if we're going to do Blood and Guts, it makes sense for the Elite to win here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't want to just have them just beat the babyfaces flat, right? Like, you want to give the babyfaces an out, and Hangman's perfect for that. It would be a big surprise. It would protect the babyfaces. It would get the heels a win, and then you perfectly set up, oh shit, Swerve is going to have, like it's just natural. So
yeah,
I think that makes sense. This match should be outrageous, as we've talked about. Do you think it is closing the show?
Yeah. I think if anything else was main eventing, they would have straight up told us what was main eventing. But the fact that they're doing this whole triple main event, it's just like, you're setting us up for, except in the fact that Anarchy's going on last. And I get it, but also own the fact that you're going to be disappointing fans. Because at the end, people are going to be disappointed that women aren't main eventing.
It's silly because the TV has made it pretty clear to us that they want this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
absolutely.
It's really not a big deal. But yeah, there it is. Double or Nothing. I think it's going to be a great show.
Oh yeah.
I think again, assuming that other factors, like hopefully the crowd is, even if it's just a middling crowd, I think the quality of this show is strong. We'll see in terms of if it leaves us with hooks. Hangman would be a good start in that regard. Forbidden Door is up next on the calendar, right? And so it will be interesting to see this kind of next season of AEW kicking off. Chuck, any final thoughts on Double or Nothing? A couple days away now. Anything else to say?
I hope the wrestlers have fun. I hope they all come out of it uninjured. I'm going to have fun whenever I eventually get around to watching it. It's probably going to be Tuesday evening based on the rest of my week. We'll see what happens. I might end up watching it live and regretting it. I don't know. And I hope that something cool happens. We haven't even talked about the Motor City Machine Guns and the possibility of them turning up. I don't think they will. It's always a possibility. They're free agents.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, I didn't even consider that. Yeah, this feels like a weird angle for them, doesn't it? It's weird, like the Bucks part of it. I mean,
Indeed.
That's something to look for, folks. Maybe some Motor
Swerve does need backup these days. I don't know. Could be interesting.
Does. He's got about 8 guys trying to beat him up right now. Yeah, there you go. All right then, folks. So we hope you are fired up, locked in for the Double or Nothing. Chuck, this is your last show for maybe a week?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, there will be no Girls on Graps this Sunday because I'm in London. There'll be no Girls on Graps next week because I'm in Liverpool. And I won't be on the podcast on Thursday because my sister's getting married. So I will be doing bridesmaid stuff.
There we go. Wonderful. Much more important than this whole shit. So that'll be fun. Folks, I am back. Meanwhile, I'm back on the air at 10:30 Eastern, which is 3:30 a.m. here in... Oh my goodness, 3:30 a.m. Chuck. Do you hear what the words come out?
Why?
They call it the late night grin. I think it should be early. Late night grin tonight. We got the King and Queen of the Ring preview show on Late Night Grin. So check that out if you're interested. SmackDown actually has happened already, but in America it's showing like later. So after SmackDown for you guys, I think maybe. Anyway, 10:30 Eastern, Late Night Grin. And I don't know if I'm doing anything the weekend because I've done this with my 3rd show today and I intend to do nothing afterwards. Rampage is on in 8 minutes. Chuck, do you have anything to plug before we get out of here?
Speaking of doing multiple shows today, I did another Double or Nothing preview with Stephanie Chase on the Fightful channel earlier today. So go catch the replay of that. I probably said a lot of the same shit.
If you watch this and you was like, they really know how to preview Double or Nothing. You can watch, you have a slate, right? You can go to last week's Late Night Grin to watch the preview of it where I lost my mind. Then you go to the Fightful preview that Chuck did with Steph. Then you go to True Heel Heat for my other preview where I was working heel. And by the end of it, you could piece together my entire thoughts on professional wrestling and society as a whole. All right, Chuck, take us home. Folks, leave a comment, subscribe. What should they comment, Chuck? Comment the match you most want to see or something. Something about wrestling, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, comment something about wrestling. I don't know. Tell me what color I should paint my nails next or something.
Good idea.
I need help. Yeah. Genuinely, I hope you guys all have a great wrestling weekend. And if you're not watching the Graps, God bless. I applaud you because more people should tap out sometimes. And I'll be on Twitter a little bit, probably not all that much, and I will catch you guys all in a couple of weeks, really, I think.
Yeah, there you go, folks. Bye.
Peace out. Thanks, guys.